We all ask questions. Sometimes they're about everyday things. What should we have for dinner? What time do I need to be where? Should I continue doing this or that? Or how can I get everything done today? Sometimes our questions, though, are about more serious things. Should I continue a relationship with this person? What are my life goals? How should that experience impact me? And certainly as well, we ask questions of faith. What does this church teaching mean for me? Do I agree with that church teaching? Is there meaning to this trial or difficulty? How can I share what I have so deeply experienced? We all ask questions of all sorts, but sometimes, especially the more serious the question, we don't actually stop and listen to the answer. I had a friend who once asked me if I prefer red or white wine. I answered that I prefer red wine. He said, we're having fish, and white wine goes better with fish, so we're having white wine with dinner. I was a guest in his home, and I happily obliged. But he really didn't ask the question to hear my answer. Sometimes we are not open to the answers to our questions. That can be good. If we're disciplining someone, we can ask them to explain themselves. They may first try to offer an excuse instead of admitting a mistake. And so it is good to ask the question again. But sometimes we can be so convinced that we are right that no excuse or explanation will satisfy us unless we hear what we are expecting, even if our perspective is wrong. An unexpected explanation of their behavior might actually be what happened. We ask questions, sometimes we need to press, but we should always be open to the answer. This openness is so important in relationships and in our life of faith. It's good to ask God questions. It's good to seek greater understanding of the things of faith. That questioning can help us discover new things and deepen our wisdom, unity, and joy. Sometimes the answer to our questions might not resonate with us. The Baltimore Catechism used to ask, what is the meaning of life? The answer, to know, love, and serve God in this world, and to be with Him forever in the next. But we have to delve more deeply into those words to truly appreciate them. We can ask questions of faith, and new discoveries and explanations are found because of it. The challenge is to remain open to the answer. Today, the Sadducees ask Jesus a question. Is the resurrection of the body possible? The Jewish understanding of bodily resurrection was relatively new, so it was a fair question. But the Sadducees were not open to the answer. And so Jesus answered it in a way that could penetrate their doubt. The 7 brothers and their mother in the first reading had a firm belief in the bodily resurrection. They were willing to suffer bodily harm because they believed that God would restore them. In their words and deeds, in the presence of their persecutors, they acted according to their firm belief. Their integrity was able to impact at least some of those who witnessed their suffering. In our lives, we have the opportunity to let our lives be guided by our faith, to let our lives be guided by the belief in the resurrection, to testify to the faith with our lives. Christian marriage is the fundamental witness to the world of God's presence and mercy and love. Celibacy, lived by priests and religious, is a way to live this earthly life anticipating the joy and love of heaven. Those who are sick or suffering can be instruments of mercy and love as they await restoration, healing, and new life. Each one of us can give witness to God through our lives. We may need to ask God a few questions. We may need to discover an answer that we were not expecting. But in the words of St. Paul, may the Lord encourage your hearts and strengthen you in every good deed and word.